So this is the story of a girl named Moika who works as a sweeper in the police station, and one day, while doing all this, evidence of a murder case falls down. When she tries to pick it up, she finds out after looking at the evidence that the person whom the police was considering as the suspect was herself a puppet in the hands of the real culprits. And the police was considering the dead man's wife as the suspect only because she was missing since that day. Anyway, she writes the word victim instead of suspect on the board and leaves. In the morning, when Detective Carrick and his team come to the office, everyone gets confused as to who did this. No one was ready to take this responsibility, so Detective Carrick got angry, and he saw the CCTV footage from which he found out that Morgan did this. That is why they bring her from home to the police station for questioning, and she is asked why did she interfere in the work of the police. The unit asks, "Why did you think she was the victim?" She starts explaining by showing the pictures that the wife is being considered a suspect only because she is missing since the time immediately after the murder, and apparently there is no one else in the house except her that day. But seeing these pictures, it is clear that there was a third person in the room that day, and it is possible that the killer has kidnapped the wife also to divert the attention of the police, and it is also possible that her life is also in danger. They did not believe her. When an officer came and told them that a third person had also come to the house on the day of the murder. Before confirming this thing, Detective Carrick gets Morgan arrested for a day because he had interfered in the work of the police. Anyway, they got the CCTV footage outside the victim's house from which they came to know about a girl who had come to the victim's house just 30 minutes before the murder. They call her and start investigating, and the girl flatly denies that she was at home the whole day on the day the murder happened. She did not even come to the victim's house. Detective Carrie Deadcock and her entire team get very confused, and in the meantime, the time comes when Morgan was to be released from jail. Morgan takes a look at this CCTV footage and tells them that this CCTV footage is fake. While leaving, she tells them that the date and timestamps here are wrong. Detective Carrie Deadcock dismisses her words, but Lieutenant stops her for an explanation. She tells that the wind blowing in the footage is blowing from south to north, but in the fall season and the summer, the wind always blows from north to south. This means that the footage being shown is from many months ago. And to divert the attention of the police, this old footage has been changed with the footage of that day, with new timestamps and date. All her statements are researched, and all her statements turn out to be correct. Even all the detectives are surprised. As soon as she starts leaving the police station, the lieutenant stops her and asks, "How did you do all this?" So Martin says that I have 160 IQ. That means my powers of thinking and observation are much more than a common man. And I have also seen a lot of documentaries, because of which I can analyze these things very easily. Well, in the next scene, it is shown that Detective Carey meets the daughter of the dead victim, and the victim's daughter tells him a very strange thing, that a Ceramese woman had sent a letter to her mother, who has disappeared. That girl tells that by the time my mother read that letter, that girl had died. Detective Carey Deck was surprised to think what was in that letter and what could be its connection with this murder case. To know this, he now needed the letter, which he thought could be in the victim's wife's house or in her office. He also tells the lieutenant about this letter. And now, seeing the case so complicated, the lieutenant requests Morgan to handle the case. First of all, he needed the letter, which could be in the missing wife's office. Detective Caddy Tech goes to that office and requests the boss to search the letter in the office. But the boss refuses to search the office. Here, in the office, Detective Caddy Tech explains the whole case to Morgan and also all the timelines. And in all this, Morgan notices that the missing wife's sister is not taking interest in everything. Although she had a deep connection, the detectives also take her along to the girls' house for investigation, and here Morgan notices that the girl is actually a biologist and it is clear from her behavior that she is hiding something from the police. She also tells this to Carrick, but Carrick does not find anything suspicious here. Well, now to solve the case, it was necessary to have that letter. That is why Morgan sneaks into that office at night without telling anyone and steals the letter on the pretext of cleaning, and when she brings it to Detective Carrick, the detective gets angry because Morgan could have been jailed once again due to stealing this letter. Morgan says whatever happens will be seen. Now read this letter. Through this letter, they come to know that Brian, a very powerful man of the city, had been harassing a girl of high standing. Sarah wanted a case to be filed against him. That is why she wanted to take the help of the missing wife. But before she could do anything, Sarah dies. Now because Brian had also become a main suspect in this case. That is why Detective Kadtek calls him to the police station for investigation. Brian was clearly denying that he did not commit the murder because he was not present on the day the murder took place. Meanwhile, all the officers outside find out that Brian was in Fountain City on the day of the murder. Before the investigation progresses, the boss of the office from where Morgan stole the letter arrives to take legal action against Morgan, due to which Detective Carrick gets very angry because he was already forbidding Morgan from such wrong things, and he had also told Morgan to return the letter. Due to all these blunders, the investigation was getting delayed, due to which Detective Carrick removes Morgan from the investigation. But due to his intelligence, the very next day, he has to go to Morgan again and take help from him. Because the detective was not able to understand Brian's link with the case. Brian was in Fontana on the day the murder took place in the alley. Now thinking, Morgan tells that the murder did not actually happen on the day it is being shown. She says that it is possible that the murder happened a few days ago and later changes were made and it was shown as if it happened just now. Detective Kadich asks in surprise that how can you say all this with such a lot of noise? To explain this, Morgan takes her to the victim's house, and there they see that the temperature of the house was very low. Because of this, the dead body did not rot there, and the blood stains also remained as if they were new. Detective Carrie Deck was still not able to understand. So Morgan said, look, the woman who is Lynette, the wife of the victim, and is missing. Her sister does not come and talk about her case, and does not show any concern. When we go to her house, we see many fountain artifacts in her house, which means that she has also recently gone to the city of Fountain. The twist is not that she went to Fountain. The twist is that she went to Fountain on the same dates on which Brian went to Fountain. And all the things here are showing that the murder happened on those dates. From all these things, it can be easily guessed that Brian was her boyfriend. When Brian came to know that Lynette was going to take Sarah's case, brought her sister against Brian so that Lynette would back off. He must have threatened Lynette. And when Lynette's husband raised a gun to scare him, Brian was not afraid of him. Rather, he tried to snatch a gun, and in all this, Lynette's husband got shot. Now this case had become that of a murder. To hide all this, he first arrested Lynette because Lynette's sister was a biologist. That is why he planned everything to save his brand. He lowered the temperature of the house so that the evidence would not look old. While going into the CCTV footage, an old footage was set with new timestamps, and they kidnapped Lynette from the same day so that everyone would think that Lynette had run away after killing her own husband. Now looking at this place, Morgan guesses where these people must have kept Lynette at this time, and the interesting thing is that her guess is correct. And soon these people reach Lynette and rescue her, and the culprits are finally caught, and the case ends here. Everyone was surprised. Morgan had solved such a complicated case so easily. That is why the lieutenant also offers her the job of a detective, which she rejects because this job takes a lot of time and she had to give time to her family. Finally, we see her with her daughter, where she notices that her daughter has started hating her father because she feels that her father has left her intentionally. However, Her father disappeared somewhere 15 years ago, and no trace of him has been found till date. Morgan is deeply hurt by the fact that her daughter misunderstands her dad she was understanding. Morgan also wanted to find out what happened to her husband. So the next day, she accepts the job offer from the lieutenant on the promise that he will help her in finding her husband, and here the lieutenant also accepts her offer. Anyway, it is shown that Morgan is at home again, where she gets to know that her daughter has got the first prize for painting in college. Seeing this, she gets very excited and starts showing her daughter her father's paintings, and this thing makes her daughter very angry, because even today, her daughter feels that her father left her intentionally. Meanwhile, there's a knock on their door. Morgan goes out and looks, then it is the lieutenant outside who had come to give her good news in her husband's case. Her husband's car was found, which came to the police station 3 days after her disappearance, and diapers were also found in his car that day, and it clearly meant that he was bringing these diapers for his children. He had no intention of leaving his family, and hearing this, Morgan's eyes fill with tears. Anyway, days keep passing, and Morgan continues her job as a detective. She helps in many murder cases, due to which the police soon catches the criminals. At the same time, Lieutenant herself was investigating Morgan's husband, and one day she comes to know that 15 years ago, one of her own officers had arrested Morgan's husband because he had made a painting on a wall illegally, and criminals often live inside that building. Lieutenant immediately tells this to Morgan and says that I think your husband has done something due to which someone has taken him away, or he has disappeared because the place where he made paintings is a place of criminals. Seeing this, Morgan shows her many pictures in which there were very good paintings made by her husband, and she says that I don't think you are right about this. Anyway, months pass, and after months of work, Morgan finally gets her formal badge while working as a detective. She was very happy, and to celebrate this thing, she went to the washroom and was taking his picture when suddenly a woman comes there crying. Morgan asks her what happened. So the woman tells her while crying that her 2 daughters are missing and she has come to the police station to report them. Morgan tells her not to worry, both your daughters will be found. Detective Carrie Dedek and Morgan start investigating this matter, and for investigation, they go to this woman's house and start talking to this woman and her father, and while talking they come to know that this woman is divorced and her ex-husband, who is an environmentalist, wanted the daughters to stay with him. He also filed a case for legal custody many times, but he could not win. Now, they start investigating that man, and they come to know that that man had also applied for passports for both his daughters last month. It is possible that he has run away with his daughters. To know what was the truth, Detective Carrie Dedek and Morgan go to his house. There was no one inside, but Morgan sees a small greenhouse near his house. Morgan notices that in this greenhouse, cucumbers and tomatoes have also been planted inside the same plant. However, both cannot grow together. And if that man is an environmentalist, he would know this. Detective Carrie Duck says, so are you trying to say that this greenhouse has been newly built and something has been hidden here? Morgan says, it is possible that these people quickly removed the plants on top. And what do they find here? The body of the same man whom they were considering a suspect. That is, that man himself had become a victim. He was murdered. Now, these people also understood that if someone has killed this man, then those 2 girls are also in some big danger. Well, the biggest thing is that they had to inform the girl's mother about all this. So they go to her house and are surprised that they lived in a very big invention. Even her dad had a personal driver. Detective Carrie Duck starts talking to those people, while Morgan starts talking to their maid in the same house, and while talking, the maid tells her that on the day the man was murdered, she saw the man's father-in-law coming from somewhere, looking very nervous. Now Morgan starts getting more suspicious. She inquires about the dead man from his neighborhood and gets his behavior report from the Child Bureau. The behavior report was written very negative, due to which the court does not give custody of her children to her. Morgan tells Detective Carrick that the report written by the social service and the report we are getting from her neighborhood and relatives are completely opposite, which clearly means that the social worker is also involved here and she knows something very big. They do research about that social worker and they find out her name is Sarah. She also had red hair about whom many people had told that she was seen roaming with that dead man again and again. They reach her house, and after seeing the things there, Morgan guesses that this woman does not earn much money because the regular things in her kitchen were very cheap. But despite that, some flour from Hawaii was kept in her kitchen. She was wearing luxury slippers of a five-star hotel, and there were many expensive bills on the dining table. From this, she clearly guesses that the father-in-law of the dead man, that is, the grandfather of those children, the old man, who is a rich man, does not bribe the social worker so that he writes a false report about that man. Now, since Morgan had told the truth in front of her, Sarah does not lie anymore and tells the truth that the old man has been bribing other people too, so that he can spread false things about the dead man. Sarah had no connection with this case apart from this. That is why these people leave Sarah and go away, and the old man is arrested. Here, the investigation of the servants at their house starts again, and the driver tells that the father-in-law had gone somewhere on the day the murder happened. That too without taking the driver along. Detective Carrick comes to the police station and starts investigating the old man, and the old man keeps denying that he did not commit the murder. So, Detective Carrick says, I am not saying that you have committed the murder. I am saying that you must have hired someone to kill that man, because your intentions in getting that man killed were something else. He knew about all your illegal businesses, and you did not like this thing about him. That man keeps denying it. But through the investigation going on from the other side, it's found out that in fact the old man had hired a man to kill his own son-in-law. These people also catch that man. But those two kidnapped girls are not found with that man the day that man is caught. The mother of those girls also disappears from there, due to which all the detectives start putting her in the suspect list, thinking that maybe the woman herself has planned this to hide her father's bad deeds. Morgan was not able to believe their words. Morgan was clearly denying their words. But then, an officer comes here and gives them the news that the woman has withdrawn a huge amount from the bank just a while ago, and this thing makes Morgan also suspicious that whether the mother herself has made her daughters disappear. Well, Morgan comes home today, and when she is watching the report of those girls in the news, she sees a very valuable artifact behind the picture of the children, which was a Buddha, and she remembers that when she went to visit that house, there was no artifact there, which means that someone had stolen that expensive artifact from their house. She immediately tells this to the detective that such artifacts were rarely found, and now they could go to the artifact shop and find out who sold that artifact. That person must have some connection with the murder. When they go there for investigation, they see that the children's mother was already there and had also come there to sell some other artifacts. Seeing this, Morgan is surprised and asks her, "What's the need to withdraw so much money from the bank and sell such artifacts?" So here the woman tells Morgan the truth that actually I got a call from the kidnapper and he has demanded money. I needed money. That is why I withdrew that money. The kidnapper had threatened me that if I tell the police, then he will kill my children. That is why I did not tell you anything. Morgan was now understanding something about the case. She also calls Detective Carrick and calls him here, and both of them promise this mother that your children will not get anything. It will not happen, and neither will we take any action to catch that man. We will definitely go with you to give the money. These people reach the place where the kidnapper had called them. The mother gives him the money, and that man runs away from there without leaving the children after taking the money, and here everyone panics, and then Detective Carrick tells everyone to come down. Relax, you guys. I had put a tracker in the bag of money, due to which we will find the kidnappers. As soon as these people reach a car, by tracing the tracker they have put, they find neither the children nor the money inside this car. Now Morgan turns on the radio of that car, where a specific show was going on. Morgan immediately remembered that his driver was also listening to this show in that house that day. That means, is his driver involved in all this? Morgan also remembers that on that day he had parked the car at such a place from whose side view mirror he could clearly see the children's mother. From all these things, Morgan concludes that the driver definitely likes that girl. But because he did not have money, he did all this drama. He kidnapped the children so that he could get money, and then he could leave the job of a driver and marry that girl. She says that it is possible that this man has committed the murder, and he has kidnapped those two girls and hidden them. They start investigating with the driver and find out that he did not commit the murder, but he definitely kidnapped his daughters. But as soon as he took the car to the mountain, both the daughters ran away from his clutches, and now even he does not know where both of them are. Seeing this, everyone comes to know that both the girls are in danger and go to the location given by him to find the children. On reaching the mountains, Morgan sees many signs there which the girls had put up to find them because their dad was an environmentalist. All this was taught to them by their daddy. Due to these clues, they soon find those two girls, and after rescuing them, they leave them with their help. And this way, Morgan solves this complicated case as well. Well, now, the next day comes, and as Morgan had promised her daughter, she brings her daughter to the police station to show her the police station, where her daughter leaves for the washroom. And in the meantime, we see that a strange woman enters the police station. This woman was very clever. Taking a gun from an officer, she soon arrests everyone here and gives this shocking news to everyone that she has already got bombs implanted at various places in the entire police station. She did not do this work alone, but her partner was also there. When he starts taking the phones of all the officers threatening them, and before he comes to Morgan and takes Morgan's phone too, Morgan sends an alert message to her daughter to run away from this building. Now Morgan's daughter does not listen to this, and she comes back to her help where the sound of gunfire is coming. What is shown here is that the one who had held everyone hostage here tells that one of our colleagues was arrested by them on the charge of murder, and he did not even commit that murder. These people even went to the court to save their partner, but nothing could be done. The woman tells that I just want to get justice for my friend. I want to get justice, and that is why I have come here. Now all the detectives together will collect the evidence that will get justice for her friend and prove him innocent. Outside this office, we see the lieutenant and Detective Carrick, who came to know about everything that happened in the police station. They find out about these two people who had entered the police station, and they come to know that both of them are military officers. Now, this soldier calls the lieutenant through the officer and says that find the evidence as soon as possible. Otherwise, all the people here will be killed. Now, as per her instructions, the lieutenant and the teledeck reopen the case and start investigating it. Actually, what happened was that their senior officer was found dead inside his van, and all the evidence was coming against this man because before that he had a fight with his senior officer. Till now, nothing was found that could prove that man innocent. The detectives who were held hostage inside the police station were also looking at the history of the whole case until now Logan, the man by the same name, who has also been arrested, appeared to be the culprit. But then, Morgan looks at the case very carefully and notices that there was a proper corner between the blood stains from the murder side, which meant that there was a page there earlier. There was a paper which was picked up from there. What was there in that paper was a matter of suspense, and the person who picked up that paper from there might be the killer. Morgan quickly calls the lieutenant and a detective cadet who were inside that army van. She asks the detective if they found any paper there. The detective tells that he did not find any paper in that army van, but the major's laptop was definitely there. Morgan tells him to checking at which file he was working on last. From the computer, they come to know that the major was working on a paper in which he wanted to punish a soldier. When they don't get much clue from here, they call the major's daughter for investigation. The major's daughter tells them that the night before his murder, they had planned a dinner which her dad had canceled, and this had happened for the first time in years, and he was murdered the next day. Morgan had to find out where the major had gone that day after leaving dinner with his daughter. That is why she takes out his phone from the evidence box and checks it. Through the last location of the phone, they come to know that the major had last visited a place where drug deals take place. Morgan connects the dots and tells that the soldier against whom the major was writing a report must be a drug addict. Now she inquires in the military as to which soldier is it who has been removed from there due to a drug case. The investigation was getting longer here. So the man who had made the entire police station hostage started panicking. His partner came and calmed him down and explained to him that there is no need to panic. We don't even trust the police. But right now we need their help. These people were talking when the other officer came to know that they have panicked. So he tries to kill him and snatch his gun. But in all this, the poor officer gets shot in the leg. Everyone gets scared, and Morgan demands an ambulance for this officer. When these people do not listen to Morgan, Morgan tries to make them emotional and says that the girl who had held them hostage was pregnant at this time, and she was in a relationship with Logan. She was with the same officer who was arrested at this time. Knowing this, his other partner gets angry. He feels as if this girl has betrayed him. So the girl says that I did not betray you. I just did not tell you that I am pregnant. Logan is our friend, and the point right now is that we have to get him released. Seeing them emotionally damaged, Morgan attacks them again and requests them to give medical help to the officer, to which both of them finally agree. The officer is called in an ambulance along with Morgan's daughter and sent away. While here they start investigating again. They do get to know about a man whom the major met last time, but they got to know all this from CCTV footage. Due to the footage being very blurred, they are unable to see the man properly and are unable to identify who that man was and whether he could be the killer or not. As this investigation was getting delayed, the man was becoming more panicked, and along with that, she was repeatedly explaining to him that there is no need to panic. Here Morgan was reading all the old investigations, and from that she came to know that the major had also bought a tracking device a few days before his death. Major definitely wanted to track someone. Morgan takes out Major's phone to find out for whom Major had bought this device. The tracker was showing that the person who was tracked had last gone inside the drug dealership. Morgan here gives shocking news to the police that the person who killed Major does not know that Major had put a tracking device behind him, and through this tracking device we can reach him. Till now, it seems that the person whom Major was trying to track must have killed Major because Major's last location was also a drug dealership. This man, the location of that day, is also the same, and after that the Major is found dead, and the tracking device is also showing that the same man has come to Major's army van at night. Now, through this tracking device, these people also find out the location of the murder, and Detective Carrick immediately goes and arrests him. The case was almost solved. Now the man got scared that after the case is solved, these people might arrest him. That is why he knocks his partner unconscious and threatens everyone that he will blow up everyone here with a bomb. Then Morgan says there is no need to fool them more. I know that there is no bomb here, because when you people came here, no dog barked here. However, on the arrival of any such device, those people become very sensitive. Here the girl also regains consciousness, and that girl also tells the man that the bomb thing was really a lie, and it was the girl who said it. In this way, they arrest the captors, and all the captured officers are freed. On going out, Morgan first meets her daughter, and everyone celebrates the situation getting under control. And here Logan is also released because now it was revealed that he did not commit the murder. Well, Now days pass, and the lieutenant calls Morgan to her office to give a report on her missing husband's case. She tells that a great progress has been made in the case. They came to know about a man with whom her husband had met many times before disappearing. The lieutenant also tells Morgan the name of that man, which was Geocon Ford, but Morgan did not remember any such name. That is why the lieutenant fixes a meeting of Morgan with that man. These people meet that man and ask him, why did you meet so much with a man who disappeared 15 years ago? And what was your relationship with him? This man clearly denies knowing Morgan's husband. Hearing this, Morgan gets emotional and tells him that if you help me find my husband, then I am ready to do anything in return. So he says, okay, my nephew is in jail right now. If you can get him released, then I am ready to help you in return. The lieutenant accepts his offer too. They now return to their office, where the lieutenant calls Detective Carrick and decides to give this case to him. And along with that, she also asks for help from Detective Carrick to get Cornforth's nephew out of jail. While the scene cuts, we are shown Morgan, who is going towards home with food, when she meets Cornforth on the way, who wanted to talk to her. He tells Morgan that I have a lot of information about your husband, and I will tell you that only when you people will release it to my nephew. Saying this, he leaves. Morgan also returns to his daily life. They solve many murders, and one day the robber comes and tells them that they have arranged a party for all the detectives. Everyone gets excited. Before they can think about their party, Detective Carrick receives an email. The email had information about a man who was kidnapped. The kidnapped man was holding a board on which was written that you have only 2 hours to make your next move. They quickly extract all the biodata of that man from his picture and immediately go to that man's house. Obviously, he was kidnapped. He was not at home, but a parcel was kept outside his house, and they take it and come back to the police station. Morgan quickly assembles a jigsaw puzzle inside this package, and they come to know that the jigsaw puzzle was of a map, and one piece was missing from this entire jigsaw puzzle, and this was the same location where that man was kept hostage. These people quickly go to that location. This place was in the mountains, and as soon as they go to these forests of the mountains, they see some cards there. This was a puzzle, and there were clues to reach that man. These people solve all the puzzles and soon reach the place where that man was kept captive and he is rescued. When this man's health improves, he is asked who kidnapped him and what was the reason. That man did not know anything. He tells that one day I was going home, then someone attacked me on the way, and after that he made me hostage. He tells that the person who kidnapped him was he used to forcefully play games with her and always wore a mask on his face, due to which I have not been able to see his face till date. After finding out all these things, Morgan guesses that whoever the kidnapper is, he is very much obsessed with children's games because he had given all the clues to the police in the form of games. Anyway, it is night and Cornford calls Morgan again. Cornford tells her that a few days before your husband disappeared, he was very worried about your and your family's security, and these days he was working with a girl named Leaf Flynn. But Morgan did not remember anything about Leaf Flynn. The next day, when Morgan comes to the office, the investigation to find the kidnapper was still going on. The same psycho kidnapper had sent 3 dolls and clues inside a baby box to the police station today. When everyone gets confused, an officer says that I know the kidnapper. He is a member of a therapy group which is used by people whose loved ones have left them. Botin asks the same officer to go to the therapy session and find out about that man, and gives Morgan the duty to find out why that man has sent these dolls. When the officer goes to the therapy session, they come to know that the man is absent today. The officer starts investigating with the other people, and the people in the therapy tell that the man was very strange. His sister had left him. That is why he used to come for therapy. His biggest problem was that ever since his sister left, he did not play any games with her. Finally, from here, he gets the address of the kidnapper's house. Morgan and Detective Carrie Deck go there for investigation. This apartment was scattered as if someone had fought here. When these people turn off the lights and look at this apartment, there was a message written here with a sparkling light, in which it was written that you can never talk in the dark. Morgan immediately realizes that only deaf people cannot talk in the dark because they communicate using signs. She also understands that the kidnapper definitely works with deaf people and must have given clues in sign language. When they go in, see those dolls in the office, all the hands of those dolls were wearing signs like deaf people talk. When those signs are searched, they find another message. When they reach that location, they find another hostage there who was kidnapped by that man and locked in a safe after kidnapping. With the help of the crucifix kept there, Morgan quickly finds the password of that safe and takes that woman out from there. This woman was a member of the same therapy group where he used to go as a habit. Therefore, Lieutenant understands that the kidnapper is making people like himself his victim. She asks an officer to provide security to all the therapy group members and also reminds everyone that there's a party tonight. So everyone comes home to get ready, and Morn also comes home when she gets a message from Conforce, which tells her location and time and says that if she needs more information about her husband, then she should come there. While here, Detective Carrie Deck meets a friend of his from FBI. He wanted to ask him about a girl who was often seen with Morgan's husband, whose name was Lila Fillon. On hearing her name, even the FBI agents get surprised and tell that Lifian was also an undercover FBI agent, and she was killed 15 years ago. While leaving, the FBI officer gives a file to Detective Kalick, which contains Lifian's complete biodata. Now the scene cuts, and we are shown the officer who was also a member of the therapy group and was also a detective here. When he gets ready for his police party and leaves, as soon as he sits in the car, his airbag bursts, and we see a masked man in front of him. That means this was the same kidnapper who was kidnapping people of his own group, and now he has kidnapped the detective. Here, everyone is enjoying the party, but then everyone starts missing that officer. They even try to call him, but he was not receiving the call. So the lieutenant asks an officer to go to his house and check. While here we see Detective Kalitek and Morgan dancing, where Detective Kalitek asks permission for Morgan and starts her husband's case. Give everything to Detective Kalitek and also give him Conford's number so that he can contact Conford and investigate and find out Morgan's husband. Before these people could say anything, they get an emergency call from the officer who went to another officer's house to check on him. She tells that the airbag of that officer's car is burst and that officer is neither in the car nor at home. She also got a clue from this car, which told them that the same psycho kidnapper is the one who kidnapped that officer. These people leave their party and start solving that puzzle, and soon Morgan comes to know that the puzzle is about that location in a big mansion, which also has a swimming pool inside. They immediately go there and see that the officer was tied inside the same pool, wearing an oxygen mask. Morgan and Detective Kara go there and soon save his life. The next morning, it is shown that Detective Carrick Morgan, who has started working on the case of her missing husband, meets Conford and after a lot of pressure on him, finally manages to get some information from him. Whereas here we're shown Morgan who went to the grocery store with her family and their boy helps them, and when they come home, they find a strange box in their luggage with a sticker on the back, and it says you are the Morgan. This was a very strange thing. Here inside the police station, the officer who was kidnapped by the kidnapper had also made a sketch of that kidnapper. And as soon as it is sent to Morgan, Morgan immediately recognizes that this was the same boy who helped her in the grocery store today and also kept this strange package in her groceries. Before she could do anything, Morgan receives another call, in which she learns that her husband is still alive. Where is she? What is she doing? This season ends here with this mystery.